Hello, and welcome back yet once again, Lions fans, to MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in. And we're diving in with some breaking news as the Detroit Lions have yet again made another acquisition in the free agency period by going out and signing slot cornerback Amik Robertson. Now, earlier today, it was announced by Jeremy Fowler that the Lions had gone out and they had signed cornerback Amik Robertson to a 2-year deal that is up to $9.5 million as far as base salary is concerned. There are potential incentives that could raise it up to a little over $10 million. And that out of that supposed contract, $4.5 million of the contract is guaranteed to Robertson. Now, here's what I have to say about this contract, because, again, I know this right now. For Lions fans, there's not a lot of this news coming out right now, so everything's going to get over-scrutinized. Everything's going to have a heightened sense of, again, scrutiny and, a difference of opinion. Here's what I'm going to say. For this signing of the Detroit Lions by Amik Robertson, I'm going to just say this. It's par for the course, because this has been what I would say is the normal for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. This has been the normal for what the Lions have done the last couple of years, and has been normal so far for this free agency period. However, though, the best way I can look at this decision is that what the Lions are doing is they are continuing to add more depth, and they're continuing to overhaul the defensive backroom, because everybody knows, I've talked about it multiple times on my channel platform, that the defensive backfield, the cornerback room, was a room that was going to get a lot of attention. It needed to get a lot of attention. And as we can clearly see, the Lions are doing that. And Brad Holmes definitely has an idea about how he wants to fix this situation. Now, I'm going to say this also. Understand, again, this is a move that is not going to be welcomed by a lot of Lions fans because it's just simply not what they're looking for. For a lot of Lions fans, what they're looking for is a big splash. They're wanting some sort of a big defensive free agent to show that the Lions, or as I should say, the front office is actually serious about the Lions potentially taking that next step. I've seen several comments. I've seen several people that are on social media. They're like, listen, we want to see Brad Holmes to make a big splash, to know that he actually is going to take that next step to get the Lions to a Super Bowl. And moves like this are not necessarily going to fit into that category, because it's like, listen, Amik Robertson, he's not a big-time free agent. He's not a big-time player. He's just a guy that you're going to bring in to fill as a depth player, as a role player, because let's understand something here. When you take a look at what Amik Robertson is, pardon me, I keep saying Robinson for some reason, it's Robertson. When you take a look at what he has to offer, he's primarily going to be used as a slot cornerback, because he's just simply not going to fit the role of an outside cornerback that what the Lions are looking for. But that's not to necessarily say there are things about him that aren't good, because there are positives about him. First and foremost, there's the contract. Again, one thing we have learned that Brad Holmes likes to do is he likes to go out and he likes to find guys that are not going to break the bank for the Detroit Lions. And this falls right into that category, because it's a cheap 2-year deal that has a base salary of $9.5 million. That is not at all that much money. And when it's only 4.5 guaranteed, that pretty much means this. The Lions are not making a huge investment. They are bargain shopping. They're trying to find players that fit not only their culture, but are also a frugal investment for the team, that are also going to fill a role of some type. So that's one thing about Robertson that I can say as a positive. He definitely fits in with what the Lions are trying to do as far as from a free agency perspective. The second thing I can say as a positive for him is that he does have some starting experience. If you go and you take a look at his track record over the last 2 years when he was with the Raiders, he started 15 games for them. So he does have the ability to play in a starting role, because he has both the ability to play outside, where he played a lot for the Raiders, and also inside, where he played some for the Raiders as well. So again, he has the ability to play both inside and outside. So that right there also lends well, because it's like, hey, if you need him in a pinch, he can go outside. But again, because of what he is primarily noted for, he's better probably as a slot cornerback. And then also there is the last one, which I think is primarily the biggest reason why I think the Lions targeted him, is that this guy has a very high motor. He has absolutely no quit in him. If you go back and you take a look at his scouting report when he was coming into the NFL, that was one of the things that a lot of scouts noticed. This guy's always running hot. This guy's got a hot motor, a high motor. He has no quit. He is going to definitely fit in with Dan Campbell's persona, because the ability to be a hard worker, to never say die, to never quit, is definitely a Dan Campbell trait. So that pretty much tells me that effort is not going to be an issue with this player. Now again, as I've said before, there are positives to every player. There are also negatives to every player. When it comes to the negatives for Amik Robertson, I'm going to just put it plainly forward and bluntly forward. The biggest negative for him is his size. I'm sorry, but this guy is, I hate to put it so bluntly, but he's puny. He's tiny. Like, come on now. The guy's 5'8", 183 pounds, and he's playing cornerback. I'm sorry, I'm 6 foot. And I can tell you this right now, my dad is about 5'7", 5'8", and I can tell you right now, I usually look down at my father. And I know this, there are freaking wide receivers out there that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and it's like, dude, I can only imagine what Robertson would have to do if he had to go up against wide receivers like that. So again, I understand this guy's got a lot of high energy. He's got a high motor. He is feisty. He will fight at the line of scrimmage for every ounce of grass that he has. But when you're going up against a guy that's 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and easily over 200 pounds, you're not going to present much of a challenge. So there's the first big negative, and ultimately the biggest negative about him. The second biggest negative is his tackling. Again, much like I talked about with the Lions trading for, Davis from the Bucs, this guy is not very good at tackling. And this is kind of becoming a bit of a question mark over my head, because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the new cornerback coach that we just acquired stated that in order to play for him, you were going to have to be able to tackle? And yet both Davis and this guy have proven in their stats that they miss tackles quite a bit. Because to me, it's just a bit of a curious move, because over the course of Robertson's career, he has an 18.1% missed tackle rate. And last year, which was his best year in the NFL, as far as a statistic and a production standpoint, he still missed 12% of his tackles. So it's like, wait a minute here. This guy misses quite a lot of tackles, yet, again, correct me if I'm wrong, the cornerback coach that we just got for the Lions said that in order to play for him, you have to be able to tackle. Well, again, that to me is a little bit of a curious statement when we have guys that are proving through stats that they are not very good at tackling, or they're just not willing to tackle. Again, I can't speak with 100% authority, but the stats aren't lying here. And then again, when you take a look at the stats, this also kind of provides a little bit of a negative. Over the course of, Robertson's career with the Raiders, which is the only team he's played for up until now, since the Lions just acquired him, he has allowed a 63.6 reception rate, almost 1,200 yards to wide receivers, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a 102.8 pass rating. Again, that's over the course of his career. Again, the biggest thing that jumps out to me is the touchdown to interception ratio. He is allowing almost 3 touchdowns to every 1 interception he might garner. Again, that's a problem as a cornerback. You have to be able to control your spot. You have to be able to provide better coverage on wide receivers. Otherwise, you are going to get roasted. And again, you take a look at last year. Like I said, it was by far his best year. But again, there's still room for improvement. Last year, he allowed 62.5% reception rate against wide receivers. Almost 500 yards given up in terms of the air. He gave up 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, which is a lot better than 11-4. And his passer rating, significantly better, but could still be better at 85.7. So again, here's what I'm going to say about this signing. Overall, in my mind, this guy is going to be nothing more than a depth piece, in my opinion, or a role piece, period. End of discussion. I cannot see how, with having Cameron Sutton, having just traded for Davis, and you brought back Emmanuel Mosley, and there's still a possibility you're going to go into the draft and draft somebody, that this guy is going to be a starter. He is purely just there for competition. He's purely there to be a role or a depth piece. I do not see this guy starting for a lot of reasons. But that's just my pure opinion. I figured I was going to put it out there. Let me hear what you guys think. Obviously, you guys will. But with that, I'm going to end the episode and say thank you all once again for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage you all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, please subscribe. I'm so thankful for everyone that I can get. But also, please, after you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification icon at the bottom so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. I also highly encourage y'all, please, to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel spreads, the greater the channel grows. And with that being said to everybody, I hope you all enjoyed the content. Hope you're all having a great day. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.